it's Scott from Replique, and today we are doing a video on scalp micropigmentation regrets. Alright, the first regret is going to a provider that focuses on marketing rather than experience. If you look at Google, the first 2 pages of organic listings are generally scalp micropigmentation providers who've been doing SMP in their state for a really long time. It takes a long time for you to actually get your Google ranking up there, and Google rewards if you've got things like YouTube videos such as this and testimonials and client reviews. So the more of them you get, generally the higher that you rank with Google. There is a lot of marketing that goes around with new people into the scalp micropigmentation industry who are just focusing on Instagram and Facebook marketing. They can have the most amazing photographs of their logo and things like that, and just you can see it, there's only like 1 or 2 models that they've done, and it's normally that they've photographs that they've taken while they're in training, and they're a little bit like you know, all hat and no cattle. Unfortunately, they don't have a lot of experience, and we've had a lot of clients who we do cleanup work with, who they've gone to those guys, and you do have to learn somewhere, definitely, but they've gone to them thinking that they're going to get a very experienced scalp micropigmentation artist, and they come away with blowouts, they come away with fake, really low looking hairlines, and it's just not what they had wanted. So I've been doing scalp micropigmentation since 2016, pretty much my full-time job, 6 days a week, a lot of clients. We've got a clinic in Brisbane and a clinic in Sydney. The first 5 or 6 months that I did scalp micropigmentation, I didn't work on a single paying client. I did it on models and I did it on friends, and I got my numbers up and I worked out my hairlines, my graduation, my density control, until I could work on a full-time paying customer. And unfortunately, we're seeing a lot of brand new artists coming into it who are still kind of learning on the job. The main concern I have with new artists is that they are transitory proprietors. So when I started, I took out a 3-year lease in my building. Everyone knew I was going to be there. We're getting a lot of people, and you can see them again, they're the Instagram marketers. They will just have a location. They don't have a fixed address, and what they're doing is they'll rent a space from a licensed chiropractor or another business that has like an infection disease control license to it, and they're renting it for the day. So when there's a problem, you can't necessarily go back there and have it fixed. And it's a really big issue because we're tattooing someone's head. It's not like we're just doing a bit of a haircut or something like that. When people have to learn, well, when they learn scalp micropigmentation, it's generally a 3-day course. And when I'm saying 3 days, you've got technical for the first day, and then you've got a couple of hours in the morning and the afternoon for day 2 and 3. A hairdresser or a barber takes years and years and years. A body art tattooist takes years and years and years when they do an apprenticeship. With this, we're doing it in a couple of days, and then they're kind of opening up and going to the public. So that's where we've had scalp micropigmentation regrets from clients, is they've been sucked into the Instagram marketing and they've gone there to an artist who doesn't really know what they're doing. They haven't got a couple of months or 6 months, 12 months experience under their belt. The second regret is where the client goes in wanting a crazy fake hairline and the artist does it. I don't know many experienced scalp micropigmentation artists who would do a fake hairline, to be honest. It's generally people who are kind of new to the industry. And when I talk about fake hairlines, I'm talking about them being too low or the wrong shape. So if you have a look at my forehead and my hairline, you've got forehead, scalp, hairline. I actually have quite a low hairline, but with this hairpiece and with my scalp micropigmentation that I had years ago, I always had it set back. So normally what you'd be doing is 3 to 4 fingers from the top of the eyebrows is where your hairline should start. With the guys that have had fake hairlines done and regretted it, it's been a real fad or a trend. So we get guys coming in for consultations and they're Asian or Caucasian, and they bring photos of Drake or Jamie Foxx. These guys have an African heritage and they have a more straight hairline like that. So we have African and we have a lot of South American clients who have more straight biological hairlines or curved hairlines that go down like that. a lot of Caucasian and Asian guys, predominantly what we have is a curved hairline. So it goes up like that and then meets in with the temples. We had one client who I wasn't going to work on him, and he was a bit body dysmorphic, I suppose. He's massive, goes to the gym all the time, thought he was really tiny, and he wanted low, and sort of thick. And I'm like, we like to do high and graduated because we can always bring it down a little bit lower. He came to me at the beginning of 2020, and I just said, look, I'm not going to do that. We can do it like this if you want. He then called me while we were in lockdown of COVID, and we weren't allowed to do tattooing then, but we're actually allowed to still see clients. So I went in and saw him, and he'd gone to a friend of his who was a beauty therapist. She'd used the wrong kind of pigment, she'd used the wrong kind of needles, and she'd filled in all of here with these massive blowouts, and he wanted me to fix it. And it's like, all you can do is get a tattoo removal to get that done, and then you have to go back over the top of it. But that's a huge regret, is guys who they want to have a very fake looking hairline. And as I said, most really experienced scalp micropigmentation artists would never do a fake looking hairline like that. The final scalp micropigmentation regret is getting your work done by an artist who's not actually qualified or experienced in cosmetic tattooing. So there's a big difference between cosmetic tattooing, which is what scalp micropigmentation is, and body art tattooing. So I can do scalp micropigmentation. I can't do eyebrows or lips or eyeliner. That's not what I'm trained to do. And likewise, I can't do, body art tattooing. It's such an incredible art form, but it's not something I, as a scalp micropigmentation artist, is trained for. And we get guys who have these massive regrets because they're very loyal to their tattoo artist, and they're like, oh, he can do it for me. He charges me this much for a sleeve or this much for a leg. I know he can do it. We use specific scalp micropigmentation pigment that is black, and we dilute it down. This tattoo, you can see it hasn't got pure black in it. It's an ink, and it goes blue and green. And so you see these guys walking around with blue and green heads with really big dots there. And unfortunately, they've gone to one of their mates who's probably a brilliant tattoo artist, but he's not a trained scalp micropigmentation artist. In the same way that we've had clients come in who've gone to a female, I shouldn't say that, but they've gone to a traditional cosmetic tattoo artist who focuses on really, feather stroke and microblading, and she might be really good at that, but doesn't know scalp micropigmentation. And again, they really stuff up the actual hairline, which is the main thing that you're looking at when you're looking at a guy's face, is you're looking at the frame of the hairline and the temples. And unfortunately, with botched scalp micropigmentation, that's the first thing that they're going to look at, is the terrible blowouts and the discoloration that's happening up there. So that is definitely a big regret of a lot of clients that get bad scalp micropigmentation, is going to an artist that's not experienced in this particular field of cosmetic tattooing. Thanks so much for watching. Please subscribe and comment. Feel free to comment if you want different types of videos. We generally do videos every couple of weeks on scalp micropigmentation, men's hair pieces, or different hair loss treatments and solutions, and we'd love to hear from you. You can have a look at our website, which is replique.com.au, and follow us on Instagram and Facebook. Thank you.